What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Kevin Mientsma, still at Northern Brewer World headquarters because we just finished doing a quick chat on Valkyrie's Horn, the mead competition that he's key in organizing, and he brought a little something extra that we wanted to save for like a separate video, a little lanyard video, maybe for the Patreon party people, and anybody who's interested in the Bochet specifically. So the bottle label says Bochet with dates and figs, 12, 22, 18, 15.4%. So this thing will be 3 years old around Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's the one and only Bochet you've done in 100 plus batches of mead.
Yeah.
It's
probably batch 10 to 15, somewhere in that range, because I've been doing this about 3.5 years. What do you think about the alcohol? Pretty well hidden?
I think so.
I mean, it's gently warming, but by no means hot.
No. It's got this nice, rich, we kind of talked about date syrup earlier when we were chatting with Nate about maybe fermenting date syrup. I get like that kind of date syrup, Belgian candy, sugar, almost kind of that dark, rich. It almost feels like a sugar that wouldn't ferment, but I'm sure it does, but it leaves a lot of itself around for the flavor.
Right. Now, of course, the dates and figs were added post-fermentation here.
Okay.
So that adds some richness, and because it is stabilized, it's not going to ferment away.
Well, talk me through the Bochet in case people don't know that. And it sounds like you pretty much were interested. This was kind of hot for 3-4 years. Hot meaning
and
like
probably
popular.
when I made this was right around
the time when Bochets were
Matt
on all
Whitey
the forums.
started a bunch of threads about Bochet, right? And I think he won some medals at some of the competitions with Bochets. And of course, there are some fun little criticisms about burning honey and doing all that kind of stuff, right? But, you know, he stuck with his guns and made a bunch of Bochets, and some of them turned out pretty dang good. And I just got curious about it, so I decided to do one. I didn't caramelize it very far. I just got it to about 2 or 3 different color changes, and then I stopped.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Bochet means basically cooking.
Cooking or caramelizing the honey. Yeah.
Do you boil? Like, will you see bubbles in this process?
You can if you let it go too far.
Okay.
And it can turn to rock hard candy too if you let it. And by the way, when you are doing this, you got to be really careful, because if you get this stuff on your skin, oh boy, you're in big trouble.
Okay.
Right. You'll get second, maybe even 3rd-degree burns.
Oh, don't do it.
Because, you know, hot syrupy stuff retains heat.
Well, and then it's going to stick.
And
too.
it sticks. It takes time to get it off. Not a good
And it
plan.
spreads.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't do that. So, you know, a lot of people do it different ways, but the method I selected, which I believe was coached to me by Josh Mahoney and Matt Whitey, who both made a fair number of Bochets, was to get a crock pot, put the honey in there, and, you know, set it on medium, and just let it slowly heat up. And then you take like a spoon or a chopstick or something and take a little sample out, put it on a paper plate or a white plate in dots, and do that like every hour or 2. And, you know, look at the color change until it gets to about where you think you want it to be. And of course you can sample that, see if the flavors develop the way you like, and then you turn it off. And
Almost sort of like when you're making invert sugar, you want to have like a white, maybe paper plate or paper, and you want to start judging by the color transition.
Yeah, and then of course you can taste that along the way. So you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that character is about where I want it to be.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I think it was a kind of generic blended clover. You know, I wasn't going to spend $15 a pound for Tupelo, especially 3 years ago when I was just starting to make mead. I was, you know, kind of focused on process. I don't want to spend huge amounts of money and have to dump a 5-gallon batch, right? You know, nothing like putting $500 into a kettle and having it go down the drain.
Would you like a supercharged steak with ketchup on it? No, I feel
so. Yeah, that's the idea.
How much? How many pounds of honey?
3.5 years ago or so. I don't know. I mean, I got notes, but I didn't bring them with.
So you ferment it, and then the dates and figs are in secondary.
Right.
Whole chopped?
I quarter them. I like to get them small enough to kind of extract everything inside it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's faster. I don't know if it really matters. Eventually you'll get it all, but I don't want to leave it sit on that kind of fruit for too long, because I don't want it to get moldy or anything like that.
Which can often bring kind of like a light molassesy kind of note, right?
Right, and I'm sure, there's a lot of different kinds of dates. I'm sure these are Medjool. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right. And I forget what the fig variety is. But, they're available at all the big box stores and the local grocery store. And, find something, play with it. And if you don't like the flavor, you can always move to another variety.
Have you ever heard of anybody like making Bochet honey and then using it in a beer instead of a mead?
Not specifically. I made a barley wine braggot a while back, which I believe I used avocado honey for that.
And if you're boiling that, I mean, who's to say that's not Bochet?
Right. Could be. Yeah,
Different way of getting at it.
you bet. Yeah, so I mean, it's just kind of a fun little experiment. I only did about 10 bottles like this, and I think this is the last one or second to last one.
Oh, so you made a really small batch of
Yeah,
this. A crock pot's not huge.
Right, I
for
took
the most
the
part.
Bochet fermented mead and then played with it. So not too bad for early in the process. Things definitely are better now than they used to be, but
Yeah, it almost kind of tastes like a brown sugar wine.
yeah, it does. I mean, it's got that nice kind of caramely note with a little molasses behind it. And the aromatics are, I actually even get just a touch of citrus in the nose, and I don't know why. Might be the honey, might be the fermentation, not even sure. I'm pretty sure this was 71B.
Could just be because it's a sunny summer day. We're drinking 16%
I know. Yeah, that's true.
caramelized mead. Well, thanks for bringing the bottle.
You
I
bet.
appreciate it. That's
Thank
very
you.
nice of you. Kevin, y'all.
Chop for chop.
Mead for mead. Josh Volt, ladies and gentlemen. You want to try something, Josh?